Nixon beat out Democratic frontrunner Hubert Humphrey to become the 37th President of the United States. He served from 1969 to 1974, when he became the first and only president to step down from office.
This is the start to the underlying distrust among politicians and politics in the U.S.
I have to seriously think that that was the beginning of my thinking that politicians were really not such honest people. And his name became Tricky Dicky.
Did you like Nixon as a president?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did you trust him?
Did when he went into office.
Many liked Nixon, as he had a majority vote during his re-election, and won, even though they were in the middle of this scandal. So were you ever a supporter of Nixon?
I was not. I don't know about her.
Yeah. No, I don't think I was either. I don't think I don't know. I think right from the beginning, did we really trust him? I don't know.
He just wasn't my favorite.
He wasn't warm and fuzzy, you know?
No.
I don't think you could warm up to the man and be warm and fuzzy.
I was, I was 20 years old. He told the American public on TV one night he's going to bring everybody back from Vietnam, and he did. How could you hate the guy? My brother was over there for 2 terms. You know, he can't be all that bad. He said he was going to end the Vietnam War or the domestic squabble we had over there with the Chinese, and he did. So, I mean, how could you hate him? You know, I was on a lottery back then. I still have my original draft card.
You know where I came from? I came from the Camelot era of John F. Kennedy. I loved the Kennedys, and I just, and I'm sure John Kennedy he had his faults and his foibles too. Yeah. You know, that whole business with Marilyn Monroe and all that kind of thing. But I just loved John Kennedy, and I just loved that whole era of, he was there, he was representing our country.
Early in the morning of June 19th, 1972, Frank Wills, the janitor of the Watergate Hotel, saw a door with tape on the lock so it wouldn't lock, and then came back to it later and found several burglars. The burglars were arrested inside the office of the Democratic National Committee, located in the Watergate building in Washington, D.C. This was no ordinary robbery. The prowlers were connected to the President Richard Nixon's re-election campaign, and they had been caught while attempting to wiretap phones and steal secret documents. From left to right, the burglars are James W. McCord, a security coordinator for the Republican National Committee and the Committee for the Re-election of the President. McCord was also a former FBI and CIA agent. The second, Virgilio R. Gonzalez, a locksmith from Miami, Florida. Gonzalez was a refugee from Cuba following Castro's takeover. The third, Frank A. Sturgis, another associate from Miami. He also had CIA connections and involvement in anti-Castro activities. The fourth one, Eugenio R. Martinez, worked for a real estate firm in Miami. He had CIA connections and was an anti-Castro Cuban exile. The fifth one, Bernard L. Barker, a realtor from Miami, Florida. Former Central Intelligence Agency operative, also known as the CIA. Barker was said to have been involved in the Bay of Pigs incident in 1962. The 5 men were charged with attempted burglary and attempted interception of telephone and other communications.
And I remember thinking, Ehrlichman and all those guys that went off to prison. Mm-hmm. Yes, they all went off to prison, and it was really kind of scary. And I know he was probably...
The White House Plumbers were a covert White House investigations unit established in July 24, 1971 by Richard Nixon. They were made to stop the leaking of classified information.
And then he fought so hard not to let the tapes be taken and listened to. And then he modified the original release. So he said, well, that was because it was secret info for the U.S. and it should not be released, and profanity.
Yeah, profanity.
And profanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, he was really so secretive, and so bad.
Yeah.
And his presidency was certainly not one of honor.
It was only because of the Post,
the Washington Post. Yes, all the reporters got a hold of all of that.
one of them in New York Times, was it? New York Times.
Yeah.
They were also getting some feed. If they hadn't pursued it,
Who knows?
Having no more options for Nixon, he was finally decided to resign on August 9th, 1974, just 18 months into his second term.
he
Johnson,
met
yes.
with representatives
his.
from the Senate and the House of Representatives, and they said,
Hey,
"You're not going to make it.
Yeah.
You're going to be impeached."
you're going to be
And he
impeached.
said, "Well, no, I think I'll resign."
I think I'll resign. And I remember it so well. Do you remember him sitting on the
Yep.
yeah, the TV?
Yeah.
And he sat there. At this time, I have decided to, and I remember it. I can just see it on our black and white television, because we didn't have color TVs back then, did we, Papa? Yeah, no.
The cover-up somewhere in the government, I think a lot of it was CIA, and I think a lot of it was related to they did not want him in office anymore. I mean, I look at the good parts of the president, what they did for this country, you know.
Okay. Did your views of Nixon change?
No, I don't think he did,
Okay.
because I think he was innocent. To tell you the truth, I think it was manufactured.
Due to this event, there's a lot more caution towards politics and politicians today. Do you think that your views of the government could have changed from before and after the Watergate scandal?
Oh yeah, definitely.
So does this make you worry about today's political race at all?
No! Absolutely.
Well,
I don't know. Who can you trust? They all have their own agenda. I
he
mean,
was a very smart man.
Because of the Watergate scandal, many do not trust the way that the government is run, and many precautions are being taken today to prevent such event.